Recording has started.
That sounds promising. So I'd just like to welcome Emily Deary. I only just introduced myself to her this morning, so she hasn't been at the MBA all that long. I think beginning of September you started, is that right?
Yeah, started remotely from Bristol in August.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So probably not a lot of people have seen her. And actually, Emily was telling me this morning the people she has met, and whenever she says what project she's working on, she gets a bit of a polite but blank look. I think that's what you had said when you're talking about that you're working on the Marine Business Technology Centre, the MBTC. There's a project I've been involved with as well, right from the start, and probably not a huge amount of people really know very much about it. So I thought it was an excellent idea just to for Emily kind of starting on it and put in right at the deep end and doing a presentation on it. So well done for that. So it's an introduction to MBTC and who is involved. And how we encourage innovation through collaboration with small, medium marine enterprises based in Devon. And I'm also involved in a project which MBTC feeds into. It's called the Future Ocean Initiative, which is bringing together a lot of the marine technology businesses largely within Plymouth. And we're hoping to get a huge amount of investment into the city in this area. So this is really topical right now. So I'm really pleased that Emily's going to give a talk about it. So please give her a warm welcome if you see her around the corridors. Not that we're going to be allowed to walk around the corridors for a while, but anyway, I'll leave it to you, Emily. And as always, if you can keep your videos switched off and stay muted, and if you have questions, if they occur to you as Emily's giving the talk, if you just put them in the chat function, that would be fabulous, and we'll pick these up at the end of the talk. So over to you, Emily. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Willie. Yes, so as Willie said, that when I started and obviously introduced myself on what project I'm actually working on, I did see that a lot of people would have kind of a blank expression. They would have heard of the MBTC, but wouldn't exactly know what I did. So it's a pleasure for me to be able to present this to you. So in the background, here you've got Ocean's Gate, so it's an aerial view. And that's Ocean's Yard, where there's a collective of marine-based enterprises. So what is the Marine Business Technology Centre, or MBTC, as I'll shorten it down to? So it's located at Ocean's Gate, and it's the new home of marine enterprises in Britain's ocean city of Plymouth. So as Willie mentioned, it's an effort to bring all of these like-minded people together to collaborate and to really use all the resources in Plymouth that we have to offer. So the MBTC specifically is a European Regional Development Funded Programme to assist small to medium-sized marine businesses in developing or testing their technology. So this could be anything from seaweed farming, needing to do some testing on potential local infestations or any kind of disease, or it could go to media companies who just want to do access of the marine area. And as I said, that Plymouth has got a lot of resources, and so majority of the partners of the MBTC, we all factor into all of the specialities that come with the MBTC. So the partners are obviously the MBA, so Marine Biological Association. We've got the two universities, so Plymouth University and the University of Exeter. We've also got Plymouth Marine Laboratory, and we're also in partnership with Plymouth City Council. And all of these partners, they filter into these special areas, so specialist areas that we then are able to assist with the small to medium enterprises, sorry. And these specialist areas are advanced marine autonomy, so that's mainly the universities that are looking into that, and alternative propulsion is also more universities. Advanced materials and manufacturing, environmental monitoring and modelling, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, and big data. And the only support criteria that you'll need is to be a high-tech marine business based in Devon, have to be small to medium size enterprise, and also a willingness to collaborate. So at the MBA, we've got 4 contacts here. So as Willie said, he's in association with the project itself, and he sits on the board of other directors of all the partnerships, just to oversee the project. And we also have Dr. Marina Stone, Rob Camp, and myself. And with that, we are the direct point of call for these small to medium prize enterprises. And with that, we also carry our own specialist areas. So for Rowena, she is the research fellow in molecular ecology. Rob Camp is plankton analyst and instrumentation technician, and I'm a business research support officer. So I tend to say that I know little about a lot, quite a wide breadth of things, but I do specialise in computer coding and mapping, so I bring that to the table. And that's where we can do in what we call in-depth assist. So we're able to assist the business more hands-on. But in the case that we can specifically do it ourselves, we do open up the whole resource of the MBA and everything that the MBA has to offer. So with that, it's obviously every bit of research that comes out of the Marine Biological Association could potentially play a role in supporting a business that may want to develop in that line of research. So as we all know, the facilities of the MBA is we've got the continuous plankton recorder, which you can see in the bottom left picture, and also me filming on the middle bottom picture as well. We've got the sepia boat, we've got water tanks, we've got a microscopic suite, molecular lab, and culture collection. And some of the services that we can actually provide to a company is consultancy from everything from sharks to microbes, genetic testing and sequencing, long-term biological databases as well. We've got a wealth of data, obviously at the MBA, which we could make available to businesses, and we can also get them in contact with funding sources and potential joint projects. So these are just a handful of the companies we've worked with so far. So Soundview Media recently are bringing out a virtual interactive experience on the sepia boat to learn about continuous plankton, and it goes all the way to seaweed farming, the Biome Algae Limited, to also artificial reefs. So we've got Arc Marine and we've got sea hives as well. And the whole point of the MBTC is to obviously help all of these companies kind of develop their research needs and to innovate and to be the kind of expertise that they might not actually have in-house. But also part of our role is to actually collaborate all of them. So say if, for example, we've got Sea Hives, who are an artificial reef company who are currently using plastics, recycled plastics, is there a way that we can actually collaborate with Plan for Plastics, so Plymouth Plan for Plastics, and could they use them as a resource, or maybe get ideas from them? And then this goes into a wider set of ideas. So all of the companies that we do work with could potentially go into the vision of the Plymouth Sound National Marine Park, and we could be the bridge and start those conversations with the people that they need to talk to. So whereas small, medium-sized enterprise wouldn't necessarily have maybe the connections and they would just go to the bottom of the email trail, we could be kind of cut the line for a lot of these companies if we think that it has real promise and we can stand behind them and do the research for them to show that it's a really innovative project. We could potentially get them in contact with someone from the National Marine Park, so the Blue Foundation, and also we can get them in contact with other resources such as the Smart Sound Plymouth, which is 1,000 kilometres squared, I think, of authorised deconflicted water space that you can actually test out your autonomised vehicles and testing facilities. So we can basically be the middle person between all of these companies and provide the funding sources and to help these companies get off the ground. So the main takeaway, and to sum it up very simply, is that the MBTC is a project that's been put in place to help small to medium-sized enterprises to develop through research, innovation and collaboration. And that is the end from me. So if anyone's got any questions or any potential companies that they've heard of that they thought might be of interest, then either you can ask here or you can drop me an email. That'd be great.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Is there any questions that we can sort of, if you have questions, if you can put them in the chat function. Is there? I mean, how much longer is the funding going on in this, Emily? I mean, you might want to let people know.
Yeah, sure. So the funding is until next summer for this project. So we're looking at so there's a grant funding which is happening, which is starting now. The applications are open for now. Then they're going to be looking at narrowing down companies in around October to then start work possibly in December, January, and that's a grant funded scheme for these companies. But yeah, the overall project itself will be until summer next year.
Okay. And with I mean, if there was a company interested, I mean, you mentioned there was funding available. I mean, how does the company actually receive that funding? Do they need to apply for it, or is there funding that would come to the MBA around for an individual group, or does it go to the company? How does that work?
So what would happen is, so a company would say if they were interested in developing and they wanted a MBTC fund, they would most likely be in conversations already with one of the partners. So say if they were already in conversations with us at the MBA, we would then be able to assist an application, which would then go to the MBTC to apply for this funding. And with that, they would have already an idea of what kind of testing they would like to do, or exactly what kind of what needs they need met, so what project needs they have, and an idea of how much it would cost. And then with that, we'll all get together as a partnership to almost score it as to how innovative or how kind of valuable that research is to the community. And then we would authorize that funding, which then the business would pay kind of outright, and then the MBTC would refund the the cost.
Okay, excellent. Okay, let's see. Is there? There was a question here. Just wondering if the MBA can benefit, or if we've had have had already.
Yeah, so one of the main benefits is probably having obviously the Marine Biological Association slapped on any kind of research that comes out of it or any kind of publicity. So I did some filming yesterday on sepia, which that publicised sepia itself, the MBA, and also the continuous plankton recorder. So if anyone were to be interested in hiring or to potentially use one of the CPRs to go off of a ferry or something like that, it would kind of broaden the conversation with that publicity.
Excellent. Okay, cute. Is any other questions? Just before we close off, I'll stop recording now. That's